Good morning, Mr. Anthony. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right,
Okay, it's been a while since we did this. You know, the last time you had touched on a whole lot of interesting points, and I know you still have so much to share. So, let's not pretend this is new. Let's just just kick this off. What brings you back to the listening ear public?
Well, it's a couple things that bring me back to this public is the fact that, like I say, the title by Carter G. Woodson, The Miseducation of the Negro, is a profound statement to me. And with all of the miseducation with media and what you see social networks saying they're about to censor certain commentary and allow other commentary out, which is going to be harmful to us, I think it's imperative that we go back to the basis of our own research and study, right? Ourselves. So I want to profound on subjects from the basis of it, such as like immigration, put it in full context, and also I want to examine and show how I specifically learn and educate myself about these subjects, because I had to do it outside of traditional education because they looked at my learning technique as a disability when it was a learning differences, which is dyslexia, right?
A formal dyslexia evaluation includes an extensive battery of tests, including tests of listening comprehension, as well as tests of speech sound processing and tests of reading and spelling, according to the science of reading and the simple view of reading.
So, being that, I wanted to, explain to us, how immigration has been used as a weapon against us as a people from its inception, right? And continue to be used as a means to undermine our political power and our economic progress.
Okay, well, that sounds like a very good starting point. So, on that note, Mr. Anthony, why don't you let the listening public know and understand what it is that you learned that is vital to the re-education from the miseducation process?
Well, what I learned is, when we look at the integration from its inception, and I look at the peak of integration, it was 1870, which is 5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, 13th Amendment was signed. So 5 years after we were released from slavery, they did what was called, they went to England, Europe, and said, send us your poor, send us your sick, and bring in European immigrants.
See, according to the Library of Congress, U.S. History Prime Source Timeline, Immigration to the United States. Saying that America brought in 12 million. Do you hear me? 12 million European immigrants from the period of 1870 until 1900s.
So, and at that time, they didn't care about the condition of those immigrants. So you have to ask yourself, why would they do that? And then you look at the setting and the conditions of that time. They also established the Department of Justice in 1870.
Wow.
July 1st, 1870.
10% of the immigrants was Irish, who notoriously was originally the police in our communities.
Wow, the original slave patrol members.
So you can see how they was brought here in order to police us and to undermine our economic power, right? And our political power, being that we had once received our freedom, right?
Right.
And I say why they had a precursor of who will we become is because of what is Central Park today. That was Seneca Village and another black community. And you know this because 70% of it was black home ownership, because in 1855, we know this because you had to own your house for 3 years in order to vote.
Wow, that's something that a lot of people didn't know.
So in order to take away their political power, what they did was the majority white group created eminent domain politically and took their properties.
Wow.
Created Central Park.
Right here was the African American village that was destroyed in order to build Central Park.
So before Central Park was known as Central Park, it was the location of Seneca Village, a neighborhood full of prosperous black Americans. At its peak in about 1855, the neighborhood had over 50 homes, a burial ground, a school for black kids, and 3 churches, like this one, All Angels Church, which you can see the outline of right here. However, in 1857, the city government used a law known as eminent domain to forcibly remove all of the residents of Seneca Village. To gain public support, they even had a smear campaign where they referred to the people who lived here as tramps, squatters, and thieves. And because the law at the time required black men to own land in order to vote, it was also a form of voter suppression. Sadly, stories like this existed all throughout the United States, like Bruce's Beach in California and the Eastwick neighborhood of Philadelphia.
Wow, what do you think should be done with this area of Central Park today? Stay curious, my friends.
So this says this is the motivation for the mass recruitment of Europeans and giving them the citizenship up ahead of us, is to create this European white political base, power base, to undercut us prior to us receiving our citizenship.
Wow. That is a lot to take in.
So we got to understand that they are the original people who was used immigration in order to undermine our political and economic capital.
So the immigration issue that is plastered all over the news, and that they're using the Latino community as the catalyst for that now, a lot of people, including me, members of the Latino community, and people at large, don't realize that this started long before they used people of the Latino communities, both in past and present. That the immigration policy started long before they used other people of color to pit them against us, the original targets of discriminatory practices by the government.